Tonight on CTV News at 6. Feeling alone in a disaster.
I would like my normal back, and this is not normal.
A northern homeowner shares his experience seeking support following devastating spring flooding. Plus, what goes in and what stays out.
Sharps were found in 0.4% of blue box samples in Ontario.
A reminder from Environmental Services about how certain medical waste should be disposed of. And it's that time of year.
It's fun. You can come here, you can get lunch, you can go to the Bell Park, go for a swim, come back, get your veggies, your fruit, and go home and have some healthy meals.
Outdoor farmers markets are back, and Northerners are enjoying the flavors.
CTV News at 6 with Marina Moore and Tony Rima with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A groundbreaking in northwestern Ontario has signaled new resource development at the Ring of Fire. Premier Doug Ford visited Webequoit today to kick off construction on a 107-kilometer supply road. It's part of a $40 million deal between the province and the First Nation that includes an airport terminal rebuild, construction equipment to build the road, and a new community center and arena. The road is expected to be complete by 2030. Martin Falls First Nation is also seeing development, with road construction there expected to start this August. These are the first of several proposed roads to support the development and mining of the Ring of Fire, which the province says will create more than 70,000 jobs. Months after spring flooding raged through parts of the Northeast, one Greater Sudbury family is still picking up the pieces, saying multiple levels of government have failed to help local homeowners recover. More from CTV's Amanda Hicks.
It's been 2 months since Simon Lake flooded Rob Papin's home of 26 years. While the water has receded, the recovery has barely begun.
I would like my normal back, and this is not normal.
Like many residents, Papin didn't have overland flooding insurance, leaving him with few options other than government support. Papin says he feels let down by the municipality and the province.
From the province, I want them to activate this area for the Disaster Relief Assistance for Ontarians program. That's number one, because that makes a bunch of money available to us to be able to help us recover. As far as the city goes, I would just have liked, it's a little bit late, but it would have been nice if they had offered a little bit more assistance to people in the remote areas, in the outlying areas.
The city of Greater Sudbury says it offered a waste removal program so uninsured residents could bring materials to the landfill for free. But Papin says that didn't work for them because they had to haul debris from Naughton to the main dump in Sudbury. The city says they've done what they can at the municipal level and are now waiting for the province to step in.
This was the best program we felt we could offer for those in particular who weren't insured and are really bearing the cost of this. And then again, advocating strongly and contributing all the information that the province needs to open up their program as well.
But so far, there is no exact timeline on when that could happen. In a statement to CTV News, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing said a team was deployed on May 25th to the 26th to assess the damage, saying in part, the province is finalizing an assessment of the flooding. Once finalized, the Disaster Recovery Assistance Program may be activated in areas where there is costly and widespread damage. Meantime, Papin's family and friends have stepped up to offer support. His in-laws are here from the United States and are helping rebuild.
Family is important, and we should support each other, regardless what's happening.
When you're not in your home, you feel quite displaced and you feel like you need to get back. So that's what we're trying to do.
Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Construction on a busy street in North Bay is about to begin as the city looks to replace an intersection with a roundabout. But as CTV's Eric Tashner reports, some living near the site are worried about traffic headaches.
This section of Trout Lake Road is about to get a makeover, and drivers say it's about time.
Well, the potholes are well overdue to be fixed.
It's been a disaster with those wheel ruts. And it's hard driving, and I have a very big, quite sized vehicle.
But there are still concerns about how the upcoming reconstruction and revitalization project will impact traffic on the street.
More problems than what they're looking at right now, especially with all the transports coming from, up 63 highway and that.
Approved by council last month, the nearly $6 million road project includes roadway reconstruction, a multi-use path, concrete sidewalk, and a roundabout which will replace the lights at the Laurentian Avenue and Trout Lake Road intersection. It's the first phase of fixing up the busy street.
It's been on the books for a while, but I mean, last maybe 5 years or something, we've been making applications to MTO for the funding, and last year we got the funding.
The city says initial work starting Monday will focus on preparing the site. Then a week later, traffic measure controls will be in place with the street reduced to one lane in each direction.
Congestion, coming from the mall, coming from here. I know it's just going to be a mess.
I'm looking forward to this project. I'm just a little worried about getting out. Apparently they're going to take us to Bank Street. Might be very congested.
Access into the mall will remain open. Once this section of Trout Lake Road is done, the city will move into the second phase of the street reconstruction.
It'll be a brand new Trout Lake Road all the way from the highway to Drew, and that Drew is where the overpass is there, and it's pretty good. We did that a few years ago.
The city says work is expected to be complete by the end of this year's construction season. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
The International Test Pilots School will begin training exercises at the Jack Garland Airport in North Bay next month with 80 pilots from Ukraine. This comes after the school announced its relocation earlier this year. Court documents show the move north was prompted by a dispute between the training school and Transport Canada. The government agency ordered them to stop combat training after a near miss in November 2025 at the airport in London, Ontario. You can read more on this story by going to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. Time now for our first check on weather, and those rain clouds have certainly rolled back into the region. With how long they'll be sticking around, here's CTV's Tony Rima.
Thanks for that, Marina, and good evening, everyone. Let's start with our forecast radar and dark storm clouds in through Sault Ste. Marie along with Wawa. Sudbury also getting a few showers off and on, and it's kind of dark in through North Bay. A lot of unsettled conditions on the horizon for the broadcast region. And then we start to get some clearing tomorrow morning, which is rather nice. And then after that, it starts to come back. The clouds and the showers, and also a risk of thunderstorms. Your full weather details a little later in the show. Marina.
Thank you, Tony. Well, we're learning more about how the dismantling of the super stack in Sudbury is going. Vale Base Metals releasing these images over social media. Officials say they've successfully removed 53 feet of the iconic structure. The current height now sits at 1,088 feet. It's still the second highest freestanding structure in Canada, but only by about 1.5 meters. Still to come here on CTV News at 6. Walking for a Cause. Canadians look to raise awareness for post-traumatic stress disorder this weekend. Plus, a new report looks at why Canadians are waiting so long in the emergency room.
You see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Some sobering new numbers today about wait times in Canadian emergency departments. A report from the Canadian Institute for Health Information found that 1 in 10 Canadians who visited an ER, that's more than 1.5 million patients, had an experience that lasted over 14 hours. Of those who were admitted, 10%, or roughly 180,000 people, spent more than 48 hours in the emergency department waiting for an inpatient bed. Sudbury's Health Sciences North sees roughly 75,000 patients in its emergency department each year. The hospital providing a statement today saying in part, over the past year, we reduced our 90th percentile time to inpatient bed from 43 hours to 32 hours for patients requiring admission, while also improving wait times for many patients who receive treatment and are discharged home. The Canadian Institute of Health Information says there are several factors leading to these numbers.
Some of that's due to people with more chronic illnesses like diabetes or high blood pressure. And we also know that some patients really struggle to find a family doctor or a nurse practitioner. or if they have one, sometimes they struggle to find a timely appointment. So they think that's, the emergency department is really their only choice.
The report found that limited availability of acute care combined with challenges accessing home care and long-term care are contributing to overcrowding in emergency departments. Staffing challenges and recruitment were hot topics at the Timmins Police Board meeting today. CTV's Lydia Chubak has the details.
At a Timmins Police Services Board meeting, Deputy Chief Darren Donnell said 2 special constables have recently resigned, one after returning from retirement to serve for another year, and another who has decided to pursue other opportunities.
We actually have 3 other special constables that are undergoing their training now. They should be completing their initial training and going into the workforce and doing the jobs that are expected. So 3 of them should be completing that anytime soon.
Donnell said the service's records and dispatch departments are fully staffed, but recruiting sworn officers continues to be the biggest hurdle. The service is authorized for 96 officers, but currently has about 81, with approximately 10 on leave. Police are also looking at additional ways to attract officers to Timmins, including recruitment campaigns and existing referral incentives. Donnell also addressed growing concerns about off-road vehicles being driven on city streets.
It's against the law. It's been broadcast out there in the media. People have been pulled over, stopped, and given the necessary offense notices for these things. Plain and simple, it's not allowed, and our officers are going to go out there to conduct the enforcement that's required.
Donnell warns offenders could face fines, license suspensions, or even vehicle impoundments. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
Dozens of OPP officers who are injured and on leave are challenging a new way their benefits are determined. They say they're losing out on a lucrative tax refund. Meanwhile, the police service says it's simply following an agreement with its members. CTV's John Woodward has details.
There was many times where I would call crying on the phone, so it was difficult.
A gathering of OPP officers who are off work and on leave after something traumatic on the job.
So I experienced the fatalities, the child abuse, sexual assaults.
Among them, Jared Hunter, a retired OPP detective. He was on WSIB leave for the last years of his career.
I was in a dark place. But what brought me out of it was my wife and a good support system.
While he was off, the OPP topped up his benefits to about $120,000, and Hunter used to get a tax refund of about $25,000. But about 4 years ago, his refund almost dried up. On his tax forms, the OPP declared his taxable income to be about $79,000, but deducted just $9 in tax.
It doesn't make sense.
Accountant Sheldon Rakowski said he's appealed the change in some 30 cases, alleging the officer's pay hasn't been calculated correctly.
They feel that these people are off because of this big refund that they're getting. They feel they need to get rid of that refund and force these people either back to work or off the job.
The number of officers on leave has been a problem for the OPP. While current numbers aren't available, in 2020 it more than quadrupled to 353, according to Ontario's Auditor General. That's when the force introduced changes to benefit calculations called net average earnings, so that the pay to officers off work isn't higher than what they'd get if they were working. The OPP said in a statement these changes were not made to negate income tax refunds, encourage members to return to work, or impact members in any way, as purported. We understand the CRA is in the process of reviewing or has reviewed the calculations. To date, there has been no direction to amend or eliminate either the calculation or reported salary. In June, the CRA sided with the OPP's calculations in one of Rakowski's cases. The officers say the changes have affected their pensions too and their properties.
We weren't able to get a fixed mortgage this time around because of the inconsistencies with the employment letter.
Rakowski promising to keep pushing, believing upwards of $10 million a year is at stake.
That was CTV's John Woodward reporting. Upgrades to a Sault Ste. Marie park have improved the city's mountain biking infrastructure and brought in new play structures just in time for summer. $900,000 from the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation covers half of the project costs for the Wishart Park. renovations. The city's tourism department is covering the remaining half with money brought in through hotel stays using no local tax dollars for the work. The project has three main components: a new bridge, playground, and connector trails to Hiawatha and the Hub Trail. The city says it saw $175 million spent by tourists last year, with its environmental amenities as one of the zoo's top draws.
I think there's a truth in if you build it, people will come. And I think here, and especially having been to the park to see the work that's doing there, to see the connections that are going to be happening on the mountain biking piece, I think it's just a very good investment, not just for the people that live in this community, but the people that are going to come to this community to enjoy it, but also the people that are going to be coming to this community to stay here.
We have a dedicated mountain biking cohort of folks in the community. They are best ambassadors for outside of the community, and they time and time again say this trail network compares to the best in the country, and that's why improving it is something that is only going to bolster our position.
A 3.5-kilometer connector trail is now open for use, with another 1-kilometer stretch to connect to 4th Line expected to finish in mid-July. Back over to Tony now to tell us if it's biking weather out there tonight or if we'll need an umbrella. Tony, what do Northerners need to know before heading out?
Marina, good idea to bring a rain jacket and that umbrella if you're heading out for a walk. If you're biking, heck, just go for it. You know, you're out there already getting exercise. We're going to start with our current temperatures at this hour. In through Timmins, a mix of sun and cloud, 20 degrees, much the same for Cochrane. Moosonee, it's 24 with a mix of sun and cloud. Kapuskasing, still a warm one, 25 degrees. As we move on over to Chapleau, well, mostly sunny, 19 degrees. Wawa seeing rain off and on, 15 degrees, 17 under a mix of sun and cloud for Sault Ste. Marie. North of the Sault in through Batchewana Bay. Wow, our clicker just kind of moved on. But across the broadcast region, temperatures near seasonal, and yeah, I'll have more weather details later in the show. Marina.
Saying the story is rain, rain, rain. That's all you need to know, Tony. Thanks for that. Next here on CTV News at 6. The Prime Minister speaks about his phone call with President Trump yesterday discussing NATO and Iran. Plus, a drug shortage in Ontario has pharmacists sounding the alarm. Prime Minister Mark Carney was in Ottawa today addressing reporters in a wide-ranging press conference to wrap up this year's parliamentary sitting. He also revealed more details from yesterday's phone call with President Donald Trump. CTV's Abigail Beeman with the details.
Bonjour. Morning. The Prime Minister ran through his record, touting a successful spring session.
We have the right plan. We're on track, but there's much more to do.
Taking questions, Mark Carney peeled back the curtain on what he called a long conversation with President Trump and senior officials, including Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
On a range of issues, some related to NATO, some related to the situation in Iran and the broader Middle East. Both current and structural issues. Is a very constructive conversation. There's things we're working on together.
He wouldn't share details on Iran, but with the deadline for a review of the North American Free Trade Deal next week.
We didn't discuss Kuzma yesterday.
Mr. Carney has a long telephone conversation with the president and doesn't even bring it up. What could be a greater priority to this country?
CTV News asked the Prime Minister about these comments from the U.S. ambassador.
Obviously, we're not anywhere close to announcing any type of a framework or an interim agreement.
What I have seen with the president is that you're not close to make a deal and then you make a deal. So both things can be true.
Carney said Canada is holding out for a reason.
We could sign a bad deal this afternoon, right? We could have signed a bad deal a year ago. We're not going to sign a bad deal. So it has to be a real deal.
The Prime Minister also teased another topic, promising an announcement on the future of 24 Sussex. That's the official residence of the Prime Minister in disrepair that hasn't been lived in a decade. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa. Some Calgary businesses are sounding the alarm over the prospects of separation.
You've got the business community and the worker and labor community speaking in one voice about the insanity of this idea of separating from the country. I think that should be a wake-up call for the Premier.
Breaking down the numbers from a new Calgary Chamber of Commerce poll, 80% of members say separation talk is already having a negative impact on the economy. Almost 1/5 say they may cut plans to expand their business, and nearly half of members say they would leave the province if Alberta separates. Venezuela was struck by 2 powerful earthquakes less than a minute apart, causing buildings to collapse in the capital of Caracas. At least 188 people are dead and nearly 1,500 injured. Those numbers expected to rise. This was the scene at the country's main airport the moment one of the quakes struck. Officials say the magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes damaged buildings, disrupted services, and forced people into the streets across several regions. Schools, subway service, and parts of the natural gas network are shut down. The earthquakes were among the strongest to hit Venezuela in more than a century. And crews are now racing against time, trying to rescue people trapped in the rubble. Yesterday was a national holiday in Venezuela, and many people were home when the ground began to shake. Countries like Spain, China, and the United States have offered to help. In the Middle East, several tankers made their way out of the Strait of Hormuz today, despite opposition from Iran. The vessels used a new route promoted by a UN maritime agency. Tehran has threatened ships using the path that runs along the coast of Oman. The opening of an alternative passage would remove Iran's main source of leverage in ongoing peace talks with the U.S. The Americans say they are committed to the new route. Traffic through the crucial energy corridor has increased, but is still well below pre-war levels. And there is more news ahead, but first let's get to your full weather forecast with Tony Rima and how long this wet weather is going to stay here. Hopefully your clicker will cooperate, Tony.
I hope so too, Marina. We got all the bugs worked out, at least I hope so. On our forecast radar, well, pockets of activity. It's raining in parts of our broadcast region, especially north in through Sault Ste. Marie, along with Wawa. Sudbury, also some shower activity, and this system is moving in an easterly direction, going to hit North Bay and also in through Timmins, Temiskaming Shores. Also a risk of thunderstorms depending upon where you live. And then we start to get some clearing Saturday, which is always nice. Sunday looks good. We'll get to that forecast in just a minute. But as we take a look at what's causing all of this mess, we have a lot of different things going on. We have high pressure over here. We have a low. We have this trough. We have warm front, cold front. It's a lot to digest. I know, but the circulation around the low is counterclockwise, so it's moving through our broadcast region in an easterly fashion, and this is our friend, the high. You know, we've all been asking about the warm weather. When is it coming? Well, it's coming with a vengeance, as you can tell by this orange color, tangerine. Temperatures are going to be up there. Moving on to the overnight conditions, Sudbury 13 degrees and showers, also rainy evening in through Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, Temiskaming Shores. Some rain, also rain 13 degrees overnight for North Bay. Moosonee, this is what you can expect. 6 degrees and clear skies, Cap and Hurst. A chance of showers, and in through Wawa, Gore Bay and Parry Sound, chance of showers and also a risk of a thunderstorm. Here's your 7-day weather forecast, starting with Sudbury, Nickel Belt tomorrow. Well, shower activity, and then the temperature starts to go up. Look at Sunday, beautiful, 27, right? Gets even warmer on Monday, a risk of thunderstorms, and Wednesday, 31, Thursday, 33 degrees when it should be 24 this time of year. For Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma, 23 degrees, still soggy conditions heading into Saturday. Sunday looks good for at least one day, then back to the showers, risk of thunderstorms. Wednesday, draw your attention, sun, cloud, showers, and 30 degrees. It's going to be a hot one. For Timmins, Cochrane, and Kapuskasing tomorrow, risk of thunderstorms. And then we start to get a break on Sunday. Monday, back to the clouds and showers. 31 degrees on the way for Wednesday, when it should be 24 this time of year. For Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, sun, cloud, chance of rain, and risk of thunderstorms. Wet weather continues on Sunday. Actually, Sunday looks good. Saturday is when you get more accumulation there when it comes to the rain. But Monday, well, risk of thunderstorms and 31 on the board for Wednesday and Thursday. And finally, your 7-day weather forecast for North Bay, West Nipissing. Tomorrow, well, a risk of thunderstorms 23 when it should be 24, but wait, here comes the heat. Sunday looks beautiful, 27. Then on Monday, increasing cloud cover. Tuesday, there's a risk of thunderstorms. And Wednesday and Thursday, a daytime high of 31 degrees Celsius, when normally this time of year it should be around 24. So we're moving into July, and that temperature is expected. And our picture of the day is courtesy of Joanne Bougie of South Porcupine. And she says she took this photograph of the half moon with the blue sky just after supper a few days ago. Thanks so much, Joanne. By the way, if you'd like to send in your weather pictures, you can do that by going to weather.pictures@bellmedia.ca. Well, farmers markets, Canada Day festivities, and World Cup soccer. Despite the forecast, it is summer in the north. We'll tell you what's coming up in the region later in our show.
One of the top scams in Canada involves criminals making deep fake videos that appear to be investment endorsements by celebrities and politicians. The fraud involves scammers asking for small amounts of money up front with the goal to eventually take everything you have. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
It's so frustrating, so devastating.
86-year-old Judy Skeen of Sault Ste. Marie says last summer she was online when she noticed an interesting investment opportunity.
From that point on, the algorithm earns on your behalf.
I saw an ad on Facebook of Mark Carney telling me that if I invested $350 Canadian, it would be backed by the Bank of Canada.
Skeen made the initial investment and the next day got a call from someone claiming it had already tripled in value. Over the next few months, she invested everything she had, even taking out a mortgage on her condo.
So I agreed then to put a mortgage of almost $300,000 on my condominium.
She believed her investments had almost doubled, but in reality, she had been scammed out of $900,000.
All my money was gone.
Her condo fees were bouncing, her insurance on her car and her condo was bouncing.
Friends like Pat Probert stepped in to help when Skeen said she was so distraught she felt like taking her life. He's also been trying to warn others about investment fraud.
If you know a senior that's alone, reach out to them. Make sure that somebody is on a bank account as an emergency contact.
You may see images or videos like these pop up on social media. Criminals want to make it look like Prime Minister Mark Carney wants you to invest in cryptocurrencies, but it's an AI-generated scam.
Because these scams are on every different type of platform.
An AI expert says companies that allow the posting of scam videos should be held accountable.
Let's remember, they're making money off of these scams. These ads are running on social media platforms. This is a revenue stream for these apps.
Skeen says clicking on that one ad changed her life forever.
Just be alert and be careful what you see on Facebook.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Well, there are concerns tonight about drug shortages that are leaving patients and pharmacists scrambling. Now, one pharmacist is calling for action from both the provincial and federal governments to help fix the issue. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the story.
2 drops in the morning. Kirsten Campbell was thrown for a loop last week when she tried to refill a prescription for eye drops.
No, can't be to anger, and then I was in a bit of a panic.
She's been using Combigan for years to treat glaucoma. She'd never had an issue before.
Is this going to be not my fault? I'm going to end up having to have surgery? You know, or worse, like the pressure builds up and something worse could happen.
She did eventually get set up with an alternative, but her eye drops, one of the drugs a bunch of pharmacists have struggled to get their hands on. Same with hydromorphone, commonly prescribed after surgery.
A heartburn medication called Tecta, or it's generic, pantoprazole magnesium, that's been on back order for over a month.
The reason for the holdup is different drug to drug. Issues at the manufacturing level, a spike in demand. Massey says that causes a lot of frustration on both sides of the pharmacy counter.
We end up having to try to find alternatives that we recommend to physicians, and then physicians end up wasting a lot of time reading through multiple communications.
It's adding unnecessary time to a very simple process.
Dr. Alan Grill explains back orders also create scheduling complications for patients and may slow down getting the support they need.
You really should be speaking to the patient to let them know what's happening. So in some cases, your community pharmacist will do that. But in other cases, the patient will then potentially book a second appointment to find out why you changed your mind on the medication.
It helps when pharmacists recommend an alternative they do have in stock. Massey wants to eliminate that step.
Pharmacists should be allowed to switch medications when on back order to a drug in the same class that's equally efficacious with a similar side effect profile.
He's pleading for better communication from Health Canada about shortages and what's being done to mitigate them.
We just wake up in the morning and we find that a drug is not available. And I think that that's not acceptable.
Millions of Canadians use medical needles daily for a variety of treatments, but not all are disposing of them properly, posing a major risk for workers in recycling and garbage collection. CTV's Madison Merrier has that story.
Last year in Northern Ontario, over 27,000 kilograms of used needles were returned to pharmacies, but not all made it there safely.
Our audit data confirms that used medical sharps are showing up in blue boxes. Sharps were found in 0.4% of blue box samples in Ontario. And while that number might seem small, any presence of sharps in the recycling stream creates a real direct risk of injury and hazardous material exposure for our workers.
Currently, we have about 316 households on a list that we're managing because they show up on a frequent basis. So we do see them there. We see them come in at the recycling center, and they end up on the sorting lines, and they come into the landfill sites.
In Sudbury alone, there are around 50 pharmacies that accept used needles, according to the Health Product Stewardship Association. However, the city also has a toxic taxi and household hazardous waste depot.
The nice thing about doing this is that you don't have any pokey things in the garbage where anyone is going to get hurt. Because if you have a needle stick injury, you never know where that needle has been, and now you're at risk of all kinds of problems. HIV and hepatitis being the most impactful sort of ones.
Residents can pick up sharp containers of varying sizes from participating pharmacies, and many sharp containers have a QR code showing the closest available drop-off location.
It comes down to, is this something that can be avoided? And from our perspective, it is. Is there a accessible system where people can get these medical sharps recycled? There is. They can take them back to their pharmacy. And so this really is something where we see that it's really about education more than anything.
While medical needles have been around for years for diabetes, cancer treatments, and more, drugs like Ozempic are expected to increase the use and disposal of single-use needles. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
This Saturday is National Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Day, a day to raise awareness and reduce stigma. In Sudbury, there will be a walk involving first responders and veterans, and everyone is welcome to join. CTV's Alana Everson reports.
Sergeant Cameron Kidder is the lead coordinator for the Greater Sudbury Police for the PTSD Walk this year. The service says the disorder affects first responders at twice the rate of any other profession.
Calls that you're dealing with, the reports that you're reviewing, the people that you're dealing with, sometimes there's quite traumatic occurrences, and they're very sad occurrences at times too that are life-shattering for members of the community that are involved with those incidents directly, and you don't know the toll that it takes.
Veterans will take part in the walk, many who are members of the Veterans Peer Support Network.
It's nice to know you can have comfort. You're in a non-judgmental atmosphere where you can open up and talk to people that they're not going to judge you. They're going to be supportive.
Organizers of the walk say there is not an official theme, but it's about togetherness and opening up dialogue about PTSD because issues related to it can feel isolating.
And when you're in isolation, bad things generally happen. So I think the important thing is breaking down the stigma, breaking down those barriers, taking the time to let people know how you're feeling and what you're dealing with.
There's a trigger or something that's causing bad memories to come forward. We're seeing a lot of people, they close the blinds, lock the doors, and live in the dark.
Members of the public can take part in the walk for a registration fee of $10, supporting Wounded Warriors Canada and their mental health programs for trauma-exposed professionals and families. Ilana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
And still ahead here on CTV News at 6, we take a look at how communities across the north will be celebrating Canada Day, from community gatherings to evening fireworks. Those details ahead.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
It's a sure sign of summer in Northern Ontario. The outdoor farmers market opened today in Sudbury, despite the gloomy weather. CTV's Angela Gemmell was there.
Rain didn't stop customers from checking out vendors on opening day of the outdoor market in Sudbury.
There's a different feel to the market if it's outdoors. You've got the wind in your hair, the rain, the sun. It's a whole different feel.
This second location is only open Thursday afternoons during the summer, while the year-round market is held indoors every Saturday at the Elm Place Mall downtown. Vendors like the Ugly Barn Farm set up at both sites.
We're here for only 4 or 5 hours, but the truth of the matter is we work all week to make this happen. And so this is a fraction of time that we're here selling, but the reality is it's like 40 hours of work that goes into it.
8 vendors were set up for opening day, but that's expected to grow throughout the summer. The appeal for this location is the outdoor feel, even if it is raining.
We've got lots of farmers, lots of food here outside at this market. Everybody has a tent, so if you bring an umbrella, you'll be safe. I promise you won't melt.
Well, most vendors have tent coverings.
Got to make the best of whatever the situation is that comes when you're in business and you're an entrepreneur. And I think I'm going to sell a lot more pop here, even with this sad setup, that I'm going to at home.
You're going for the pity sale.
I'm not going for the pity sale. My drinks speak for themselves. They got a good flavor.
The biggest appeal for the market is supporting local farmers and businesses.
It's fun. You can come here, you can get lunch, you can go to the Bell Park, go for a swim, come back, get your veggies, your fruit, and go home and have some healthy meals. So it's nice and convenient, and we have a beautiful scenery when the sun's shining.
Lang says this is a rain or shine market. The only weather that will close them down are heavy winds and lightning. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Well, families across the province will be able to begin their summer break with some free fishing. Starting on Saturday and lasting until Sunday, July 5th, Ontario residents can fish for free across the province without purchasing a fishing license or outdoors card. All conservation license, catch and size limits, as well as other fishing regulations still apply. But have fun. And there will be a venue change for Canada Day festivities in Timmins this year. In a social media post, city officials confirm the bouncies, vendors, and food trucks will be setting up at Hollinger Park, along with all the live entertainment. They say this will give them more room, more washrooms, a covered pavilion, and access to a splash pad. Afterwards, they'll stroll over to Gillies Lake for fireworks, just like last year. In North Bay, that city will kick off the nation's birthday with a 5K road race and a Canada Day regatta at the waterfront. The day will include free admission to some local museums, entertainment at the Kiwanis Bandshell, and a free fireworks display. And the Roberta Bonder Park and Pavilion will be home to Celebration in the Sioux, with a mix of performances and entertainment starting in the afternoon. And in the Nickel City, the Sudbury Community Arena will be home to the Multicultural Food Fair and entertainment, while the grounds at Science North will be full of free family-friendly activities. Canadians could be celebrating more than just our national holiday next week. Team Canada set to play South Africa Sunday in Los Angeles. This will be Canada's first ever elimination round game. You can cheer on the boys on CTV, TSN, and Crave starting at 3 p.m. Tomorrow, however, it will be Senegal versus Iraq, finishing off group play. That game will be live at 3 p.m. right here on CTV. That means our 5 o'clock broadcast will be preempted, but you can still tune in for your CTV News at 6 right after the game for all of your local news. Creative individuals in Sault Ste. Marie now have a space that supports their growth and celebrates their work. The Sioux Film Fest is opening a new cinema and event space to host film screenings, networking events, socials, and fundraisers. The festival board has begun booking the space for the summer and plans to show it off at an open house event tomorrow evening at 7. The first event is the Film Festival's summer camp, which added a second week to deal with the high demand.
We've been working with a lot of great folks in the community over the years in theater and in art world and in film, and we just kind of want to expand on that and give folks the opportunity to use the space as well for their different projects if they need it, or open pop-up shops or screen movies, or bring things to the Soo that we might not be able to have, for example.
And festival organizers say the local film industry is growing, and this new space can only help it along that path. How will things get rounded up on the Dutton Ranch? With the latest from the entertainment world, here's Douglas Hyde with the Hollywood Report.
Few names are as revered as Dutton, but Rio Paloma is my town, and I work very hard to protect it.
The Dutton Ranch finale is set for July 3rd, but it won't be the end of the hit show. The Yellowstone spinoff was just renewed for a second season, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. The show has been a ratings juggernaut, with a record-shattering debut as the most-watched launch in Paramount Plus history.
I want success. Get it for me.
Success at last for another series in the Taylor Sheridan universe. On the award show stage, that is. After failing to win Golden Globes and Screen Actors Guild Awards, Landman is set to pick up its first trophy, the Academy of Country Music's Film Award, recognizing movies and shows that prominently feature country music. Landman will receive the prize at August's ACM Honors in Nashville.
Is this real? Is he gonna die? It's true. We're witches and curses real. I will never trust you again.
We're getting our best look yet at Practical Magic 2. Warner Brothers just conjured up the first full-length trailer. The sequel to the 1998 romantic fantasy brings Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman together again. Practical Magic hits cinemas in September. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
The idea that they may have
Outgoing Apple CEO Tim Cook recently mentioned price hikes were on the way for several of his company's products. Today, the tech giant revealed the extent of those increases. Apple said today that it can no longer shield customers from soaring memory and storage chip costs. Those prices have been sent soaring while the AI industry pushes to build out more data centers. As of today, Canadian customers will pay $949 for the entry-grade MacBook Neo laptop. That's a $150 increase, joined by price hikes for a range of Macs, iPads, and other products. Today's announcement, though, does not affect Apple's main cash cow, the iPhone. BlackBerry shares spiked today after the Canadian company reported solid earnings. BNN Bloomberg's Marina Fernandez has the business headlines.
BlackBerry's raising its annual revenue forecast. That sent shares up about 20% today. The company's focus is QNX, its critical operating system for vehicles. In its most recent quarter, BlackBerry reported revenue of $153 million US, a 26% improvement year over year. BlackBerry now predicts full-year revenue for 2027 to be around $600 million. Jameson Wellness says it's considering an unsolicited offer to buy the company. Jameson sells vitamins, minerals, and supplements. The Toronto-based firm says there's no certainty talks will lead to a deal. Jameson stock did gain on the news. The price of crude oil started creeping back up today after concerns were raised about getting through the Strait of Hormuz safely. A ship was hit today by an unknown projectile. Other tankers turned around earlier in the day, saying they heard the Iranian Navy telling them not to cross. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 70.43. West Texas Intermediate up over $2 to 71.97. Western Canadian Select is down over $3 to 55.77. And the TSX was up 114 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marina Fernandez.
Taking a look now at the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $27.66, closing the day at $40.2705 US an ounce. Silver also climbed 45 cents. Copper down a penny, and so is nickel, ending the day at $7.56 US a pound. Back we go to Tony now for one last look at the weather for Friday.
Thanks for that, Marina. Well, unsettled conditions. That's the story for Friday. Let's take a look at your forecast in through Sudbury. Sun, cloud, showers, and a risk of thunderstorms coming in at 24 degrees, 25, and unsettled conditions for Timmins. Sault Ste. Marie, 23 degrees, 30% chance of rain. As we head on over to North Bay, 23 degrees, sun, cloud, and rain, plus risk of thunderstorms. Parry Sound looks like the outlier at this point, 23 degrees, mainly cloudy. And in through Temiskaming Shores, expect a little sun, some cloud, rain, and, you know, there's always a risk of thunderstorms coming in at 24 degrees. Marina, it's back over to you.
All right, thank you, Tony. Well, finally for us tonight, a special project from students to seniors in Sudbury. Students from R.L. Beatty Public School and Lowellen Park Secondary School worked together to craft custom benches for Extendicare Countryside. The initiative began from a Community Connect learning project that paired kindergarten students with residents of the local seniors complex, linking classroom learning with meaningful community engagement. And I don't know if you could see on the bench there, but those were all the kids' little fingerprints that were pushed on as decoration. I just think that is so nice and such a great lesson. That's all the time we have here on CTV News at 6. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.